Hey everyone, Mike with OneTut.net here, and today is the 5th tutorial of our HTML Fundamental series, and today what we're going to be talking about is another basic text topic. This one is called quotes. Now let's get started with what's called a block quote. So open up your text editor. I've already created a folder for basic text 3, and I have my index.html, and I have my main structure already. So we're going to start by typing out block quote. Now, the block quote tag is for exactly what it sounds like. It's for quotes that are blocks. Browsers are going to indent the quote, but it doesn't really look any different than a normal paragraph would look other than the indentation. So inside of block quote, we're going to add a paragraph tag because the quote is going to be in a paragraph most of the time. And let's type out, "This is a very wise quote," and let's save that, and let's open that in our web browser and see what that looks like. Now, like I said, it's going to have some indentation, and that's just default styling by most browsers. I mean, some browsers might have less or more indentation than this, but it kind of just looks like a normal paragraph. And when we go back to our text editor, there's another feature of block quote that is a element that you can add in there. It's an attribute called cite. Now, citing is exactly like it may sound. If I can type it right, it's going to cite the source of the quote. This cite attribute requires that you have a URL as the value. Now, the URL is for the page where you either got the quote or of the author, any way you would like to cite the actual source of the quote. So let's type example.com/quote.html. Now, when we go back to the web browser, for example, you notice nothing changed at all. You can't see the actual citation on the screen, but it's still in the source code, as you can see right there. Now, quotes also can be put inside of paragraphs. It's an inline quote. It's generally for shorter quotes. So let's type out a paragraph. But first what we're going to do is let's add a line break in there. And then we're going to add a paragraph and type, "One time a man told me," and then we're going to do a Q tag. Not a quote tag, but a Q tag, which stands for quote. And what we're going to do is type in, "This is a wise quote." Now, outside of the Q tag, add our period, and we have to close the paragraph tag. And let's save that. Go back to the web browser, and the only difference between a block quote and a inline quote would be that it has quotation marks around them. Now, the idea of a Q tag is that it does not have any breaks in it, and it's not a block. So it can also have the attribute cite, and just like above, it has to be a URL. You cannot cite a source by just the author's name or the book name, wherever you got the quote from. It actually has to be a direct URL. And just like before, it's not going to show up in the browser either. But in the page source, it's still there. So that's just a quick little HTML tag that I wanted to show you guys and the usage behind it. You may or may not use this a lot. From what I've seen, this tag is very underused. Look for quotes on different web pages and then go to the source and see if they're actually cited or inside of Q or block quote tags, because they're usually not. This is just a way that we can make the web page more semantic. But anyways, that wraps up the 5th tutorial of our HTML Fundamentals series, and I hope you follow along to the rest of the tutorials. Don't forget to check out our forum at onetut.net.